Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wherever you happen to find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world we're in. This is another scene for Darkness in Dublin, the vampire venue. This evening's scene brings us back to the Indigo Lounge inside the Clontarf Castle Hotel, known amongst the kindred as the Tremere Chantry. Primogen von Essen has extended an invite to Miss Charlotte Monroe of Clan Toreador to discuss private matters that she didn't feel comfortable discussing in previous nights in front of others. So she is waiting at the bar, a glass of whiskey in her hand, her signature baby pink suit on, this time with a slight modification, a black rose pin pinned to her lapel.
So Charlotte will arrive about, I'd say 15, 20 minutes later than the invitation indicated. She pulls up in a car outside, late model luxury town car, probably a Porsche or Mercedes Benz or something nice, something really, really nice. Might even go as far as to say as perhaps an Aston Martin, maybe. Um, and
That
she,
is what Frances has, actually.
um, so she gets out of her James Bond car, and she's dressed as she normally is. Uh, Hair's up, done pretty nicely. She's wearing black with gold or silver jewelry. She has a silver necklace around her neck. It looks very much like a collar with a very significantly sized ruby hanging off of it. Um, she was wearing it the previous night when you saw her last, and she raining probably, so she's
She would
wearing a.
be greeted as usual by Castiel,
Mhm.
something that anyone who comes to the Chantry is probably used to by now.
And she'll shake his hand or kiss each cheek.
He'd have to stoop down to let her kiss his cheek.
That's
He's
okay.
6'10".
That's okay. But otherwise, good evening, Mr. Von Essen. Castiel Von
Ah,
Essen, right?
Acre.
Acre. Hmm. Pleasure to see you again.
You're thinking of Conrad.
Yeah, it's very similar names. Um, sort of. Um, is your Primogen in?
Yes, she's expecting you. She's waiting at the bar.
Let me see. And she'll allow Castiel to take her coat if that's what his job is. I have no idea what his job is.
Oh, he is basically just security.
Okay. But
He
she'll
is there to make sure no one gets in who shouldn't be there.
okay, gotcha. But she'll take her coat off and sling it across her arm and grip her handbag with another hand, and she'll walk into the bar. And she waits for Katya to acknowledge her presence before she steps closer.
Katya would look up and acknowledge her, giving her a nod as she sips on the whiskey in her hand.
And she'll walk over to the bar and she just says, "May I?"
She gestures to the empty seat next to her.
And she doesn't sit facing the bar. She sits facing away from the bar, like but she does sit her coat and her purse down on the bar very heavily. And she kind of crosses her arms in front of herself and looks at Katya.
It seems we have a lot to discuss, doesn't it?
I suppose so. Where would you like to start?
With you blood bonding Amboise before he died.
Yeah, about that. Well, you see, when you apprised me of the situation regarding your clan wanting my head on a silver platter, I was taking precautions, as it were, because while your clan
My
is very
clan didn't give two fucks about Amboise. They would have gone right through him to get to you. I am the only one hurt in that process.
she looks up at the ceiling and waits for Katya to finish speaking before she'll look at you. May I finish?
Go ahead.
You see, I don't believe that the Tremere would waste their time sending an unknown agent to take care of me. I believe that they would have made you do it.
You are correct. They did ask me to do it.
Exactly. And do you
Well,
think
not so much asked as
exactly
demanded.
not so much ask as a demand as the Tremere do, no offense. But you see, was and you were close, no?
Close is one word for what we were.
He told me that he loved you. He told me that he wanted to get his love back from whoever had it. And you see,
I'm
I
well aware of what happened.
bore Amboise no ill will, given his previous affiliations with the Sabbat. Nor do I hold his clan. Well, I don't necessarily hold the Summer in high esteem due to them being pretty much the heart and soul of the Sabbat, but he defected, which I find to be brave, admirable even. But you see, as I said, the Tremere would have sent you to do the job, to do the deed, to kill me and issue the final death, as you are the primogen of Clan Tremere in this city. However, Amboise was more of an insurance policy to ensure that you wouldn't do that to me. Because if you hurt me, you would hurt him. And I knew that you wouldn't have risked that.
Do you honestly think he would have defended you?
Not naturally, artificially, perhaps, but I knew that if he was bound to me, if he
It would
was,
snap the blood bond instantly with your death.
yes, I realize that, but I think that it maybe would have possibly made you put in a word with the Tremere.
Do you think I hold any sway with the inner council? I'm a lowly regent. of a backwoods chantry.
I'm not sure of how the Tremere operate. You would know that better than I, but I do admire Amboise and who he was. I held nothing against him, as I hold nothing against you. I know that the
Besides, some of
yes,
us still walk humanitas.
as do I. I simply wished to protect my neck, and that was the easiest way I saw how to do it. I may have been wrong in that, as I've been wrong in the past. I don't deny that. The matter with the Salubri, for one.
Well, they are now a clan again, so.
Yes, and I admire them. I do. As as for that matter, we can discuss that later on.
But yes, had it come down to it, I would have been dominated into killing you. Amboise would have made no difference.
I'm not aware of the powers of the blood that the Tremere possess. Besides blood sorcery.
I believe you saw the way one of our powers worked during that final battle. Well, not the final battle, but the battle in Waterford.
Hmm.
It's one that the Ventru also specialize in.
Hmm. I suppose it would have been for naught, but I don't blame my own ignorance for it. It wasn't because I bear you any ill will. I think you're a rather intriguing individual, and I hope that in the future we can have more pleasant dealings with each other.
Pleasant isn't exactly. I'll say this, I haven't been pleasant company in the last little while.
Grief will do that to someone. I speak from experience, you know.
That battle with Aishar cost me a lot.
I think that if I had been in your position, I would be in the same state as you are in now.
After all, I lost two people I cared deeply about that night. Cared deeply about.
Just because someone is gone doesn't mean you stop caring about them.
Oh, believe me, I know. If I if I could turn it off, I would. Because right now it hurts so bad that it makes me wonder if it's really worth getting up out of bed.
Can I share something with you?
Go ahead.
Something that M was, well, several, not several, I suppose, but a handful of people in this city know about. I, before I was turned in the late 1800s. And before then, I had a daughter. I say had. She never breathed, but she was mine. The people we love or the people we care about, we don't stop caring about them just because we can't see them anymore, we can't touch them anymore. We still hold memories that are important to us. We still hold mementos of theirs that
She
are
kind of,
important to us.
at the mention of mementos, she kind of touches the black rose pin on her lapel.
You have a kind heart. I can tell that. Your empathy towards those you care about is to be admired.
Some consider it a weakness.
Those who consider it a weakness think that emotion is a weakness. They think that having feelings is a weakness. They think that being scornful or hateful is strength. But I found myself that having a kind, soft heart or caring in a world such as ours, the world that we exist in, is to be admired and sought after because we kindred have let time and experience harden us and our hearts when it shouldn't. We should behave as such in spite of everything that's happened to us or everything that we've experienced because it takes strength to remain kind in a world such as ours.
It does. And sometimes it really, really sucks.
It really, really sucks. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. And sometimes the people that you care about or the people that you love can be a weakness towards you, but they can also give you strength. I know that Amboise gave you strength, and I know that you gave him strength.
He broke his promise to me.
What promise was that?
She starts to choke up a bit. He promised me he'd always come back.
If I could have saved him, I would have. Somebody decided to call in a fucking priest as if that was a good idea. She she rolls her eyes. I
At this
fleed.
point, there are tears of blood streaming down her cheeks.
She'll pull out a handkerchief that's it's actually a very particular handkerchief that's it's like ivory linen, but it's got red embroidery on the outside.
Is this something she would recognize?
No, it's not. Not unless you've spent a lot of time with the Keeper of Elysium, it's not.
No, she spent a good chunk of time with him.
Have you ever been to his house?
Yes.
Have you seen the piano?
Yes.
Okay, then it is something you would recognize.
She would kind of raise an eyebrow a little bit.
And she hands it to you.
She'll wipe her face. Look at me.
Your scars.
And if that wasn't bad enough,
What?
I watched another person I care about get their heart ripped out of their chest right in front of me.
Who was that?
Do you remember Connor Fletcher?
The Bruja.
Yes.
But that was th- what? What are you? That doesn't make any sense.
He revealed something to me just before we went out there.
She raises an eyebrow, and
He was Zemitzi.
huh, well, I see. That's not what I was expecting. That was the last thing that I was expecting.
No one else had quite as many pieces to the puzzle as I did, so
Well, they are very unique, I must say.
despite despite that, I can't bring myself to hate him.
Sometimes the the stereotypes are there for a reason, but sometimes we defy those stereotypes. Was he
He was
surprised?
very much still a member of the Sabbat. He was a spy, but he still went out there knowing he was going to die and sacrificed himself so we had a chance.
Well, something that I think that a lot of people don't realize is when the world is ending, everybody's fight, not just the Camarillas.
Most people seemed to forget that
Why do you think I invited the Anarchs to Waterford? She gives you a bit of a smirk.
indeed
Sometimes, in times of strife, coming together for the common good, despite philosophical and political affiliations, is better for all involved.
But yes, I've returned his ashes to Romania, as they should be,
She just gives a nod.
as he asked of us, myself and Ryan Fermo.
I see.
We were the only two who knew in the end.
What happened to Amboise's ashes?
I still, I still have them.
She just gives another nod. Any news on his sire?
No, but when I find her, I'll rip her teeth out with my nails.
We could stake her out for the sun. Or would that be too kind?
It's too kind. She needs to suffer for what she did to him.
He told me what happened. I want that bitch dead as much as you do.
She kind of takes a deep breath and composes herself a little bit.
Um, if you'll let her, she actually extends a hand and kind of touches the cloth of your lapel. She doesn't touch the rose, but she just touches the suit itself.
It was Connor's. He wore it during social gatherings.
It looks good on you. I always found white suits to be extremely striking.
Now,
But
it's pink.
oh, pink, excuse me. It's a little hard to tell in this lighting. I apologize.
Quite all right. I do need to do something about that.
Though I
I
do think that you would look perfect in a white suit.
I have considered it, but they've gotten used to my baby pink, and I think if I showed up in anything else, the prince may have a heart attack.
You could always trademark it, you know.
Mm. There is one other piece of jewelry that hadn't been seen before.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gray rose ring with an emerald in the center of it.
Hmm. Hmm. She looks down at it and smiles. Well, I meant to, since we're on the topic, I suppose, about the salubri.
Yes, their newly minted clan status.
I hope you do realize I wasn't trying to upset you at the gala.
It wasn't your fault.
I simply didn't
I
know.
simply knew as soon as you said it what was going to happen,
Ah, yes, well,
what I would be forced to do.
I simply didn't know anybody else. And, well, you were the position in the highest ranking position aside from the prince that I knew about, so I thought it would be important to apprise you of the situation. Perhaps I should have done so privately, but the thought was on.
You might not have gotten thrown across the room by Whisper, had that been the case.
Yeah, well, she's scary to say
Oh,
the least.
I certainly wouldn't want to get on her bad side.
Ah, yes. Well, there is that. She asks, "Do you mind if I have a drink?"
Go ahead. She kind
And
of nods at Castiel, and he,
she actually, if she Katya doesn't mind, Charlotte will actually walk behind the bar.
she would let her. Usually Castiel gets the drinks, but as he's been a bartender several times throughout his
And she
life.
is there blood bags or
Yes, there are. They are hidden under the counter.
okay, so is there like she's not gonna heat it up in the microwave, but there's like a water bath or something maybe?
Yes, they are soaking in a water bath.
Okay. She actually has something similar in her home. Um, but she'll pour it into a wine glass and she'll actually mix it with scotch. And she'll actually reach over the bar and extend her glass to Katya's for a toast.
Katja holds up the glass and toasts.
To fond memories of lost loved ones.
Indeed. She'll
Clink,
take a drink of her whiskey.
and she'll sip her spiked blood. I hope that moving on into the future we can.
Have you met the new Salubri Primogen yet?
I have not had the pleasure. I've only have had the pleasure of meeting Morpheus. And he is, well, very spectacular.
Certainly is. He managed to heal myself and Francis both from near death.
Yes, we were, the dear Seneschal and I were sharing a glass such as this, and she kind of motions to what she's drinking, when he showed up in my home.
Oh,
Imagine that. Yeah. And we apparently convinced him to help, which was surprising.
life saving. Or, well, unlife, I should say.
Yes. I don't believe semantics are important at this moment, but on life is
Francis and I probably would both be dead if not for him.
well. I'm
The
glad.
seneschal. Pardon me.
Uh, eh, I won't tell if you won't. I know that you two are familiar with each other.
Indeed.
And she just kind of holds up her hand. I'm not judging.
In fact, we have a meeting after this.
Oh,
Yes, much to discuss between the two of us.
hmm. I know that Miss uh, Miss Green, Katrina, is hoping to throw a bit of a after battle bash. You should come.
I might.
I know that Primogen Noir will be there.
Uh,
Hopefully,
it'll
anyway.
be good to see her again.
If she is free that evening, we shall see.
Yes, I need to speak to her much more often than I do.
Hmm.
Seems like the only time I see her is during council nonsense.
Well, you have to keep things intact and running smoothly. Yes.
Mm, frankly,
Is
I'm
there?
shocked I kept my job when Prince Hennessy took the throne.
Why so?
I'm hardly the best blood sorcerer that we have, so
Oh well, you are the oldest and wisest, are you not?
I believe so. I don't think any of the others were
Well, that has
quite as, I hate
that has
this word, old as I am.
not old, experienced.
My dear, I was born in 1670. I'm old. No, well,
Well,
embraced in 1670.
yeah.
The
Well,
dates begin to blur a little bit.
well, when you've aged like a fine wine, my dear.
I haven't aged at all.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the scotch.
Perks of the embrace.
But nonetheless, uh, I do hope that moving forward we can be perhaps more pleasant with each other. That in the past we haven't necessarily seen eye to eye or on some things, but moving forward, I hope that we can. I
As do
do enjoy
I.
I do enjoy your company quite a lot. Speaking of company, I was wondering if you were interested potentially in investing in a nightclub venture that I have in mind.
Uh, at the moment, I'm trying to pay off renovations to my chantry that. Oh, what do you know? Francis's little Sabat friend caused. Mm. He did save my life. I thank him for that, but did they have to ruin my chantry in the process?
What happened with that?
Evidently, Francis has a bit of a enemy in a Nosferatu fellow by the name of Spectre.
Hmm.
And that creature snuck into my room as I prepared for bed, and pressed a shotgun to the back of my head.
Her eyes go wide, and she kind of chokes on her drink a little bit when you say that. That explains why you were sitting in the corner of the room when you told me about Glenn Shamir wanting my head.
Yes, that's why I tend to always sit in a corner now. Hard to sneak up on someone whose back isn't to a wall.
That's true. Hmm.
He threatened me and then staked me.
How fucking rude.
I believe he told Francis he had 12 minutes.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Francis called in a minor boon with Prince Mithras
Ah!
and saved my life.
Wow. That's
I do thank him for that.
well, all right then. That's unexpected, but I guess I can't necessarily blame him.
Francis is hardly a selfish man, I will admit that. Well, he can be, but
Yeah, well, he's never necessarily struck me as being selfish.
he can be about certain things, but
Oh well, as can we all.
very true. Oh, you're fine.
Um, are we? Is this part of Katya's domain?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
The chantry is firmly within her domain. It's pretty much the center of her domain.
She's gonna look at Katya and she's just gonna say, "How are you feeling?"
A little lost, a little broken, but I'm getting back to normal.
That's good to hear. Hmm. If there's anything that I can do to help, please don't hesitate to ask.
She nods.
And not any of that favor boon nonsense, just as a friend to a friend.
Come here. I want to show you something.
Oh, what's that?
She takes her out of the bar and into kind of a back room. And in that room is it's about half finished from about the waist up,
Mm-hmm.
but the part that is done is exquisitely detailed. It is a
Mm-hmm.
solid marble statue of Katya.
She's gonna walk around it and kind of examine it. She's actually, intriguingly enough, she pulls out a sketchbook and some charcoal pencils, and she says, "Do you mind?"
Go ahead. Connor
And
was making it before he passed.
she actually starts she starts sketching it. Sketcher has actually inspired her to start drawing. She's actually gotten quite good. Um, but she does like maybe 15 minutes, kind of just a rough sketch, and she'll show it to Katya. I'm getting better,
Ah, it takes practice.
of course. Our dear friend, Mr. Sketcher, has inspired
Ah,
me to start drawing.
darling boy.
As a Toreador, I find all forms of art to be, well, I say all. That's a lie. Uh, most forms of art to be rather intriguing. I myself prefer performance art, but I do enjoy physical arts, just painting or drawing.
Yes, Connor was working on it before he passed. I had no idea he knew how to sculpt.
It's lovely. It catches your likeness very well. Hmm.
To say that I was shocked when I found this in his home.
Well, it was rather surprising, but once a sculptor, always a sculptor, I suppose.
Indeed.
She kind of chuckles at that with a little bit of a double entendre there. Hmm.
Got to see his real face one time.
Hmm. She kind of hesitates a little bit because she knows of Samichi, but she's never. I don't think I've ever actually met one. So she's
Aside
like,
from Connor.
"What?"
Aside from Connor.
Aside from Connor, but she didn't know that. And uh, she kind of hesitates, and she's like, "How did he look? Is it like I don't wish to be rude, but is it all like
He was nothing like most of the Zmitzi I've met.
wow? That's
And it's
like
funny, when he told me who he really was,
hmm,
it's odd.
how so?
He's within the Sabbat, he's known for hunting down and killing Tremere.
How
Yet,
ironic. How ironic.
yet, there he was in my bed.
Hmm,
And as it turned out, it wasn't just for cover.
hmm. Sometimes we find ourselves in unpredictable places. I know I have before. I meant to ask you a little bit with the issue of the red lister. Do we have any idea where to start in regards to that?
Well, we've just dealt with one red lister. Hopefully, we don't have to deal with her.
Hopefully, but I wouldn't count your chickens before they hatch.
Hmm.
I think that we should prepare in the event that we have to deal with her.
Very true.
We may also wish to apprise Clan Giovanni of an infiltrator within their midst,
Indeed, that the
given that
figure who had been posing as one
yeah,
of their most esteemed members.
given that she decides to keep up that charade.
Yes, I'll have to let Florin know.
Hmm. I might actually, hmm, gives me an idea. I owe him something, and perhaps it might suit him to have that piece of information. But is she not a follower of Set? Correct.
Yes, as far as we know, she's a Setite. She was a child of Set.
I would be very wary of her in that case.
I would be wary of all Setites, especially those whom the Red List was created for.
Yes.
After all, she was the whole reason they created the Red List in the first place.
Ironic. I don't know if I need to roll in subterfuge manipulation with this. Because talking about setites really makes her uncomfortable.
I mean, it makes Katya uncomfortable too, so it's
Okay. Alright, well, I'm not gonna bother with it then.
it's understandable.
Yeah,
Anyway, I should be getting to my meeting with Francis.
I understand. Um,
Hopefully, this time we aren't interrupted.
hmm, hopefully.
Seems we can't have a nice dinner without some kind of world-ending fucking tragedy.
Um, in which case, let me give you my number, and if you need anything, just text me or call me and let me know.
She nods,
And she pulls out
and
a really
she'll
nice,
hand her her phone.
she'll, she's gonna, um, put her number in it and hand it back to her.
When you are
And she'll,
resources 5 and really don't care, if you smash one of the newest phones on the market.
yeah. She, and Charlotte will do the same. Yeah. Her phone background is a hand of glory.
She'll put her number in and hand it back to her.
Thank you, my dear. I hope you have a wonderful evening, Primogen.
I certainly hope so. I could use one.
And give my uncle my esteem, if you'd be so kind.
Of course.
And I guess we can end our scene there.
Indeed. Thank you, players playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene for Darkness in Dublin, the Vampire Venue. See you next time.